Peoples of the worldwide federated internet. What's good? People. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Thinkening. I appreciate it. You could be anywhere, listening to anyone talk about anything, but you're here listening to me ramble about randomness. In today's randomness, if you have not heard of Reddit, I am not going to proclaim to you that I understand everything about Reddit. I didn't even know I had a Reddit page. I guess it was or Reddit profile. I guess it was from one of my health tracker devices, and I didn't even realize it. I don't even know when I set it up. Be honest with you, I have no idea when I set that up. But there's a thread on Reddit called Wall Street Bets. And I'm going to tell you what they did. It's very genius, and it's really shaking the investment world up right now. And a lot of hedge fund investors that shorted a certain stock are shaking in their boots. Now, I'm no investment guru. I have no investment advice. I wouldn't be able to give you any advice that would lead to anything substantial as far as gains. I don't know enough about investment. I do have some investments. I've tried to diversify in a few different things, but I'm a little fish. I don't have much of anything. So this hedge fund, Melvin Capital, they shorted GameStop. I'm not going to try to explain shorting. I have a decent understanding of what shorting is and how it works, but to be able to explain it, I'm no investment expert. Suffice it to say, hedge fund companies bet against certain companies that they believe are going to fold, and GameStop was one of those companies. So what some normal people did, millions of normal people got together and said, screw these hedge funds, excuse the lingo, we are going to buy GameStop stock and hold and buy more. And millions of regular people got together and bought GameStop. GameStop stock just, I think it was 5 days ago, was $90. It is $347 right now. It is reported that these hedge fund companies have lost something like $14.5 billion. Let that sink in. All off of the power of normal people who decided, you know what? Enough. We're going to do something. We're going to put our money where our mouth is, and we're going to go toe to toe with some of these big, huge hedge fund investors. Now, here's what's funny. I'm not celebrating anybody's downfall. I understand that there might be more than likely is normal, regular people that are tied up in some of these hedge funds. Like I said, I don't understand the ins and outs, and I am not proclaiming to you that I understand the ins and outs. But hedge fund companies have been betting against companies that they thought were going to fold for years. And in a lot of ways, you would be naive to not understand and know that these hedge fund companies definitely manipulate markets. They get away with it. So Wall Street Bets has been shut down from I'm trying to think of this website. I can't even think of it right now. It was on my mind as I started recording, and it just completely left my brain. But they were shut down. It's gonna bother me now that I can't think of this site. They were shut down off of the site because of, air quotes, hate speech. And I guess now they've made their Reddit page private. You have to be invited. It's funny how these companies are coming after normal people who decided to take their money, invest in some stock, and go toe to toe with these hedge funds. And I guess these hedge funds are losing a bunch of money. There's one hedge fund company that, if I'm not mistaken, I read that they were possibly going out of business due to this. Now, I'm not reveling in someone going out of business. That's not what I'm doing. But now I read some articles, and I'm going to show you these articles where regulators are talking about looking into this or watching it. And I'm like, so again, no guru. I started playing around in the stock market maybe 5 years ago. I should have been playing in the stock market a lot earlier. Now, I've always had, 401ks, but I'm talking about just me personally taking my money, buying some stocks. I've made some money. I've lost some money. But I've never heard regulators say anything about looking into these big whales. For those who don't invest, a whale is someone with a large chunk of change that invest in a company. And a lot of these people, they're known throughout the industry. And if and when they speak, they can definitely affect stock prices. People like Warren Buffett, he's a whale. If he says something negative about a certain stock or certain business or company, he can definitely move the needle against that company. Dude has a huge voice. People listen. I've never heard any regulator say anything about looking into anything someone like him or people in that same ilk have said. And believe me when I tell you, these people definitely manipulate the market. I have seen it. I have lost money, not huge amounts because I'm not rich, but I've lost money in the stock market over a lot of these big wigs manipulating the market in a very conniving way. You see, these people, they know the regulators. They know exactly what they can say and get away with it, how exactly to skirt the line. So now you have regulators talking about looking into what these normal people, it's millions of them, but it's normal people. And I'm not naive. I am 100% positive there's some people on that Reddit page that are probably some heavy lifters when it comes to investing. They probably got a lot of money. I didn't realize this. Somebody was schooling me this to this today. Excuse me. Elon Musk. I guess some hedge fund investors tried to short Tesla some years ago. So Elon Musk feels some type of way. So he tweeted, I think he said, game stonk, I think is what he said. Oh, I got something caught in my throat. And when he tweeted it, I guess GameStop stock went crazy. I had to hit my cough button real quick. But so yeah, Elon Musk texted out GameStop, and I guess he invested a couple million into it. He's betting against these hedge fund companies as well. Here's the thing. If hedge fund companies can invest in such a way to bet against a certain company, whatever the company is, to fall and make money off of them falling, then why can't normal people pool their money together and bet against the hedge fund companies? They don't like that too much. This is what I'm finding. And I know this is not a surprise to anyone. We have a lot of people in powerful positions, not necessarily government positions. I'm talking about just people, rich people. And I'm not one of these people who, I'm not against people being rich, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you all rich people are evil. That's not true. But there are a lot of people in powerful positions who do have a lot of money and they can move the needle, and they do. And a lot of these people are totalitarian and tyrannical. I'm going to read some articles, and I want you to pay attention to just exactly how they're painting these normal people versus these big whale investors. Like, they have to protect these whales. So Ameritrade and some other platforms today froze trading on AMC, GameStop, and there was another stock that these guys were investing in heavily. For the life of me, I can't think of it. I should have wrote a lot of this stuff down, but the stuff is just happening, and I was like, man, I think I want to say something about this stuff. But anyway, let's get to these articles. So this first article is Investopedia, a good website if you want to get some information on the markets, what's going on. You know, if you're a novice like me and you want to kind of be as in the know as you can be. The article was written yesterday, January 27th, and the title of the article is "Day Trading Frenzy Prompts Broker Outages and Restrictions." TD Ameritrade restricted the trade of GameStop, AMC Entertainment, and others. Key takeaways: TD Ameritrade it was BlackBerry was the other one. Restricts trading on GME, that's GameStop, AMC Theaters, and BB, which is BlackBerry. TD Ameritrade mobile app and Robinhood experienced outages due to high trading volume. The unrelenting trading frenzy around GameStop and other highly shorted stocks has led to several broker outages and other restrictions on trading in several securities. TD Ameritrade became the first online broker to place restrictions on the trading of highly shorted. Notice they said highly shorted. So it's all right for them to be highly shorted, but oh no, you regular plebes, don't you go buying and messing up the money from these hedge fund companies that are going to short this stuff. And again, I don't want to make it seem as though I'm ragging on people getting rich, because I have no problem with that. But these hedge fund companies are being hypocritical, right? The same way these companies make money off shorting a company, well, you can say that these regular retail investors, regular normal people, that's what a retail investor is, a normal person. Well, we can't have these people shorting the hedge fund companies. Oh, no. We need to call the regulators on this one. Okay, so TD Ameritrade became the first online broker to place restrictions on the trading of highly shorted stocks, including GameStop, GME, AMC Entertainment, and BlackBerry, amid a multi-day rally spearheaded by retail investors and day traders. The broker said that it has placed several restrictions on some transactions in the GameStop, AMC Entertainment, and other securities in an effort to mitigate the risk of its clients. We made these decisions out of an abundance of caution amid unprecedented market conditions, it said. What about the normal retail investor clients who will stand to lose money on these hedge fund companies that place their heavy-handed bets against these companies for them to fold? Now, I'm not telling you is that, oh yeah, these hedge fund companies, they need to go down. That's not what I'm saying. My viewpoint on this is, so the retail investors are doing the same thing the hedge fund companies do against these companies, these other companies, only the retail investors are shorting the hedge fund companies. They're playing the same game. So why is it all of a sudden now bad when normal people are playing a game? Oh, I get it. You don't want the plebes to get rich. I read a story, or heard a story, didn't read it. A guy invested $55,000 into GameStop a couple weeks ago. He made $22 million. More power to him. More power to him. The move came as GameStop stock popped nearly 110% at 12:35 p.m. Wednesday, and AMC stock jumped 180%. The unprecedented volume of trading caused limited access to the TD Ameritrade mobile app, the company said, encouraging users to use its website or other platforms. Meanwhile, earlier today, users of Robinhood sent as many as 12,636 problem reports, citing issues with the app related to server connectivity and logging in accordance to Down Detector. The New York Stock Exchange halted, listen to this, the New York Stock Exchange halted trading in GameStop for volatility 9 times on Monday and 5 times on Tuesday. Short sellers feel the squeeze. TD Ameritrade's decision comes as short sellers battle a new class of retail investors. Now, that's interesting. So I've read many stories of people who have lost their lives when big whales, when big hedge funds come in and wager economic war against these companies, bet against these companies. People have lost everything. Now, I'm not preying on these hedge funds' downfall. That's not what I'm doing. But what I'm saying is the retail investors are playing the same game. It seems as though we have a double standard. The big boys can do it, but no. We can't have you little people getting in on this action. No, we will have none of that. TD Ameritrade's decision comes as short sellers battle a new class of retail investors and day traders that have flooded the stock market since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, many of whom have been part of a buying boom last year as they chased after struggling stocks they believe deserve a second chance. Online forums like Reddit's Wall Street Bets have become a place for these new and experienced day traders to discuss stocks. So here's what it seems like is happening. These hedge fund investors are well-connected dudes, businessmen that have a lot of experience and investment acumen and chops behind them. They know what's going on. They're in the in. They're on the cutting edge. Their ear is on the ground floor. They're in rooms that the regular person will never be able to sit in. So it seems like what has happened is, as far as I know, last time I checked, the Wall Street Bets Reddit page now has 4 million people. So what's happened is, in some of these hedge fund companies, you might have 5, 6, 7, 8 big wigs that are at the top, that are in the know, that are moving the needle, right? They're making the big bucks. There's other people making money, making some very good money in these companies, but these are the dudes that are making the big bucks. So what you have is, you have 4 million people that have got together. They're not rich. Some of them might be rich. I'm not saying none of them are, but for the most part, normal people. Some gonna invest $100 here. Some may invest $1,000 here. Some may invest $10, $50, but it's 4 million of them. That's a lot of capital. That's a lot of weight. And these big companies are feeling it. But these guys are doing the same things, the same thing that these hedge fund companies do. The difference is, these hedge fund companies have the protection of the machine behind them. So the machine will, out of the air quotes abundance of caution, protect hedge funds. What about the average person that invests in a company and doesn't know that this hedge fund company is betting against the company they just invested in to fall? What if that little person actually believes that this company has potential? Maybe they read an article about something this company is planning, something they have in the works, but that thing can never get off the ground because this big hedge fund company bet against that company, and everyone in the know knows it. So there's a sell-off. Now these little people who saw that article, read about what this company has going on, has lost all their money. Where's the machine to say, out of the abundance of caution, we're going to stop these hedge funds and have a parlay? We're going to pause this. You don't see it. Okay, so short sellers against video game retailer GameStop have already lost $5.05 billion. And from what I understand, because this article is, hours old, from what I understand, that number is somewhere at 14 billion just on GameStop alone. That's huge. In 2021, according to S3 Partners, as shares of GameStop soared on retail investor fueled euphoria, short sellers who were faced with mounting losses and high borrowing fees were also forced to close their positions and buy, prompting what is known as a short squeeze. Short sellers that experience hemorrhaging losses, including Melvin Capital, a hedge fund that started the year with 12.5 billion in AUM. Not exactly sure what that is. As I said, I'm not a big investment guy, so maybe that stands for something simple. I'm not sure. You can look it up. And lost almost 30% through Friday last week. That's crazy. And Citron Research, which covered the majority of its GameStop short in the $90 at a loss 100%. That is nuts. All right, so now I'm going to go to this other article. I'm just reading from a couple articles so you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. Shares in the US games company have soared more than 300% in the past week, talking about GameStop, the result of a fight between private and professional investors. Video game brick and mortar retail GameStop is arguably something of a relic in a world moving online. But its share price soared another 127% in Wednesday trading in New York. Analysts blame tech-savvy young day traders who they say are taking. Notice how, now this is the thing about the news. You have to pay attention how things are framed, because what they want is they want to get you to think a certain way. So listen at how that's framed again. Analysts blame, right? Why not just say analysts say this is the result of? Blame gives that inclination that something is wrong. Analysts blame tech-savvy young day traders who they say are taking on hedge funds in a conflict with generational overtones. And the phenomenon could be spreading to Europe, with several stocks subject to unusual fluctuations in Wednesday trading. Now, for any of you that have been around for any length of time, you know there's been times where somebody, some big whale, some big wig has sold off a bunch of stock and made the price on, certain companies just bleed. And it might not have been their entire position. It might have been just a portion, but just enough that they knew this company was going to bleed. But in situations like that, you rarely hear or see any article about what's going to happen to the small retail investor that has their money in this. Now, full disclosure, right? Investing, in my opinion, is like gambling. As a matter of fact, that's exactly what it is. You take a risk. I know, this is what I learned. Somebody taught me this. This is not investment advice from me. This is something somebody taught me that's just sound wisdom. He said, never invest money you are not willing to lose and be comfortable with. So, with that said, I think everyone going into the stock market needs to understand that it's a gamble. You have to understand that whatever you put in, you stand the possibility to lose. You have to be willing to take that risk, whether small little guy or big business. Nobody is free from getting got in the stock market. You can lose everything. That's just a possibility. It's just the way it is. And I think people going in, both small and big, need to understand that this is what it is, right? It doesn't need to be this environment where we need to protect the hedge funds. But these little guys, nah, we can't have them doing this. This isn't right. Look, everybody coming into this knows the risk. And it should be that simple. Now, I'm not saying that there should be no rules to trading. It's definitely not what I'm saying. But again, I find it hard when looking at this story. Hedge funds are betting against GameStop. Retail investors are betting against the hedge funds. What's the problem? It is a battle between Wall Street pros and upstart investors using social media platforms such as Reddit, analysts say. Now, the next thing that's going to happen is Reddit's going to be censored. The same way you saw this play out in politics last year where whoever is a part of the establishment controls that arm, yeah, they're going to come out on top. And that's what's going to happen. Reddit will be censored. And I'm almost positive that the Wall Street bets page, if it's not removed, I mean, I could be wrong, but if it's not removed, I would be shocked. Okay. Where is that? Social media platforms such as Reddit, analysts say, and at the moment, the upstarts have the upper hand. It is, says Neil Wilson from markets.com, getting weird. We are seeing some serious funny business in some corners of the market. Now, I read this, and in my mind, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm like, oh please. So now that you have a bunch of retail investors doing the exact same thing that some of these big whales do, now there's funny business. I would like to see this Neil Wilson. I would like to see his comments on the stock market crash of 2008 and the things that were going on before then. I wonder if he thought there was funny business going on in the housing market. And maybe he is unbiased, and maybe he was the same way across the board. It's very possible. I wonder, though. Will it end badly? Asked Thomas Hayes, managing director of Great Hill Capital hedge fund. Sure. We just don't know when. What's driving up the GameStop price? Certainly not any good news coming out of the company. GameStop, described as a failing mall-based retailer by one professional investor, made a loss of $795 million in 2019 and probably several hundred more in 2020. But that's not deterred an army of social media day traders with access to free and low-cost trading platforms such as Robinhood. So, when you see a sentence like that in an article, oh, they're coming for Robinhood. What's going to happen is some big wig is going to go to Robinhood and let them know, if you don't play ball, we will remove you from the internet. And who probably have a lot of time on their hands during lockdown. Now remember, during lockdown, a lot of these big hedge fund companies and these big whale investors have made a boatload of money. I'm not against it. I'm not mad at them for making their money. So when I say things like that, it's not like, oh, they shouldn't have made their money. They made their money. They took advantage of an opportunity. So now you have small retail investors that have got their heads together, got organized, and they are taking advantage of an opportunity. They were dribbling up the lane. They saw the defense collapse. They're going for the dunk, and the team is calling a timeout while they're in the air. This is literally what's happening. They've been swapping tips and ramping up prices via Reddit chat thread, Wall Street Beats. Notice how it keeps wording these things, talking about these different social media platforms. They're coming. GameStop is not the only stock in their sites. BlackBerry, AMC, and Nokia. I don't know this other one. Oyjis, OYJIS, never heard of it. Are others. But it's currently the battleground between the Goliaths like hedge funds and big investors and the Davids who make up Reddit's private punters. Key to what's going on is shorting. What say a hedge fund borrower shares in a company from other investors in the belief that the price of a stock is going to fall. The hedge fund sells the shares on the market at, for example, $10 each, waits until they fall to $5 and buys them back. The borrowed shares are returned to the original owner and the hedge fund pockets a profit. That's the somewhat simplistic theory anyway. So when you listen to that, listen to what hedge funds are doing and betting against these companies. I mean, I'm no legal expert by any means. I'm no investment expert by any means. But when I read that, I'm thinking, oh, so these retail investors are doing to you what you do to these companies. Okay, I'm trying to find a problem here. Maybe I'm thinking about this too simplistic, and maybe there is a problem. I mean, it's possible. Like I said, I'm no investment guru. I don't understand these things in and out. 2 billion losses. GameStop is the most shorted stock on Wall Street, with some 30% of the shares thought to be in the hands of hedge fund borrowers. But Reddit's retail investors have embarked on a frenzy of share buying and options trades, pushing up the price and putting a short squeeze on the pros. In this supercharged trading environment, the big Wall Street investors rush back into the market to limit their losses, with the demand pushing up the price still further. One hedge fund, Melvin Capital Management, reportedly had to bail out with more than $2 billion to cover losses of some shares, including GameStop. While another short seller, Citron Research, has also withdrawn from the fray. For many Reddit investors, it's not just about making money. They smell blood. What did Warren Buffett say? I believe it's his saying, buy when there's blood in the streets. Analyst Neil Wilson says that from reading the Reddit chat threads, the day trades battle with Wall Street is clearly personal. Among the many aspects of the story that are strange, what is so unusual is the peculiar, vigilant morality of the traders pumping the stock. They seem hell-bent on taking on Wall Street. They seem to hate hedge fund, and threads are peppered with insults about boomer money. It is a generational fight, redistributive, and all about robbing the rich to give to the millennial poor. And I'll tell you, I actually looked up before they went private that Reddit page, and it wasn't as cut and dry as this person is trying to make it. Now, there's definitely elements of this. I mean, I can't lie, but I don't think it's that cut and dry. And painting with this broad brush like this is all it is. That's disingenuous. And I have firsthand knowledge, so I'm saying this is disingenuous. But many big investors are refusing to budge and continue to hold their GameStop stock at rock bottom prices. They believe the tide will turn on Reddit's herd instinct and GameStop shares will come back to earth. These are not normal times, and while the Reddit thing is fascinating to watch, I can't help but think that this is unlikely to end well for someone. Deutsche Bank strategist Jim Reed said, "Look, somebody is going to lose out. That's goes without saying, but that's the stock market. Some people lose. I've lost money. I have lost money because big whales dumped stock. I've lost money because of that. But I didn't get upset at these people for dumping stock. I got upset at myself for not paying more attention. They caught me slipping. I knew when I started investing, this is a gamble. You got to stay very vigilant. You have to pay attention to the news. You have to watch what's going on with the stock you've invested in. Watch for news. Watch for the CEO saying certain things. Watch for financial reports. So if I don't do that and I miss out on something because I'm not paying attention, it's the name of the game. In the meantime, some European stocks appear to have been targeted in a similar fashion by day traders. They include media company Pearson, which saw its share price surge nearly 14% in London, trading on Wednesday, and German drug firm Evotech, which rose 9.6% in Frankfurt. So that's all I'll read from this article. But I just wanted to read some of that stuff so you could see what's going on. And here's the interesting thing about this whole big deal that's going on. Because I mean, I'll be honest with you, this is arguably the biggest story of 2021 right now, bigger than anything else going on. Just my opinion. It's funny how eerily similar a lot of the big investment companies and hedge funds, they're lobbying for the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, to come in and regulate this and, shut this down. It seems a lot like what the media did for the past, I'd say 6 or 7 years that independent journalism has been on the rise. Since independent journalism has been on the rise, the media has pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and lobbied and talked to all of the big wigs to try to push out independent media. They don't want these independent voices because it threatens their stronghold. In the same way, when people do what these guys, men and women on Reddit have done, and they get together and they say, you know what, collectively we could probably battle with these guys and do something. And they all got together and said, all right, let's do it. Let's play their same game. They have bigger whales, but we have more people. Now all of a sudden they want to regulate and shut this down and halt trading. And out of the abundance of caution now, man, this looks just like the social media purge that we just saw happen. I would be very shocked if this Wall Street bets page stays up on Reddit. I would be very shocked if somehow these big wigs, because they got connections, they got their tentacles everywhere, don't get to somebody that gets to somebody that gets to some big wig at Reddit like, hey, you need to shut this down. That's probably the way this is going to go. There's only so long they're going to allow this thing to be a thorn in their side. But it's funny. The hypocrisy is very funny. And it's evident. It's on full display. When I heard about this story yesterday, I wasn't excited to see hedge fund companies fail. There was no excitement around that, but there was definitely excitement about seeing normal people who have realized, wait a minute, we don't have to let these guys box us out. Yeah, they may have these one or two huge dudes that have huge funds, but we have millions of people. These millions of people and what little we have, We can go toe to toe with these dudes. It's fair game. It's capitalism. It's fair game. They're playing the same game these hedge fund companies play. Now, maybe I'm seeing this too overly simplistic because I talked to someone about this today who, had a different opinion. And I'm, like I said, I am no investment guru. I don't understand the ins and outs of hedge funds and shorts. I really don't. But it just appears that the normal people, the everyday Joe, is now entered the game with some weight. And now the bigwigs all of a sudden have a problem with the same thing they've been doing for years. Y'all know what it is. Stay frosty, people.